afternoon. I'm Constance Sayers. I'm the president of Government Executive Media Group, and I will be your host for this event. On behalf of the Department of Transportation, it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's event, Final Pitches for the Department of Transportation's Smart City Challenge. The U.S. Department of Transportation has pledged up to $40 million to one city in order to help define what it means to be a smart city. The selected city will become the country's first city to fully integrate innovative technologies such as self-driving cars, connected vehicles, and smart sensors into their transportation network. I'd like to recognize our underwriters for this event. Without them, it just wouldn't be possible to put on an event like this. Amazon Web Services, Autodesk, Mobileye, Sidewalk Labs, and Vulcan. Thank you very much. I also want to recognize Route 50. Who will be hosting the live stream for today's event. Just in case you wondered, we have 2,000 viewers outside of this room, and we have several viewing parties set up all across the country. So in case you're not familiar with Route 50, Route 50 is a digital publication from Government Executive Media Group, also the publisher of Government Executive. We cover news, technology, innovation, and best practices in the state, county, and municipal governments across the United States. Route 50's editorial team has covered this challenge from the beginning, and we have detailed, in-depth profiles on each city on route50.com. So I encourage you to go there to see all of those. It's great stuff. Before we begin our program today, please take this opportunity to silence your cell phones, but don't put them away. We want you to, be very interactive. Tell us how we're doing. Give your comments or suggestions via Twitter at #SmartCityPitch and #DOTSmartCity. Again, that's #SmartCityPitch and #DOTSmartCity. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, the Honorable Anthony Foxx. Anthony. Say a few words about you. Anthony Foxx became the 17th United States Secretary of Transportation July 2nd, 2013. At the U.S. Department of Transportation, Secretary Foxx leads an agency with more than 55,000 employees and a budget exceeding $70 billion. The Department of Transportation oversees air, maritime, and surface transportation, and the Secretary's primary goal is to ensure that America maintains the safest, most efficient transportation system in the world. So now I'm going to say and welcome Mayor Anthony Foxx, which you and I had the great pleasure of meeting at the Democratic National Convention back in 2012. So
yes. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Let's give it up. So welcome, everybody. This is not normal government space. And this is not a normal government challenge. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but let me start by giving some thanks to the Government Executive Media Group for hosting us today and for the great sponsors that have been involved in supporting not only today's event, but the challenge overall. Let's give them one more round of applause. Before we get into the presentations, I am pleased today to also announce a new partnership with the Smart City Challenge. We now today are announcing that AT&T has become a sponsor of this challenge and will be providing the winning city with over $1 million to help the winning city implement V2V technology, or for those of you who are not transportation junkies, vehicle-to-vehicle technology. So we're very excited about that partnership, and we want to thank AT&T. So let me set this up by pointing out that an innovative challenge such as this does not happen without leadership. And President Barack Obama's charge to our department and to our country is to do everything we can to reinvent and build stronger a 21st century transportation system. And the President has given us that broad challenge, and one of the offshoots of that challenge is this Smart City Challenge. Let me also say that we have been doing some work at the department to try to understand the dimensions of the challenges we face over the next 30 years. There's a report that we have drafted called Beyond Traffic, and it's about 322 pages. It is a page turner for all of you who like to read. And what that report starts to tell us is a pretty dim view of transportation over the next 30 years. We're going to have 70 million more people competing for space on our roadways, on our railways, on our runways, at our ports. We're going to have 45% more freight volume to move around our country, 65% more trucks on the road. We have the ever-present challenges of climate change. We have the possibility that technology can help us close the gap a little, or maybe a lot, on addressing things as varied as congestion, again, environmental factors, improving quality of life. But across the globe, as more countries and more cities talk about what a smart city is, there's a lot of philosophy, but what does it really mean? And that's what we've begun asking ourselves through this challenge. We began the challenge back in December when we issued it to mid-sized cities across the country, cities big enough to have complicated transportation challenges, but small enough such that a grant of this size could make a dent. And we were surprised that when we issued this challenge in December, we asked cities to send us their 30 best pages on how innovation and technology could play a role in addressing their challenges. 78 cities from across the country applied. That means that 78 cities took the time to imagine the future in the ways that we want them to start reaching for. So we were able to down select, very difficult, by the way, so difficult, in fact, that we down selected from 7 cities when we initially intended to down select to 5. And this month, we endeavor to pick the winner of the Smart City Challenge. But instead of doing this in sort of a closed, smoke-filled government room, we decided to open up the consideration process and let the public see and hear what we see and hear about these 7 dynamic communities that have their own challenges that are unique to them and their own solutions that they've tailored in reaction to this proposal. I'm excited about this, and I think this is not only a statement in the United States, it's a statement to the world that as we become more densely populated, as we have more challenges with moving goods that are so needed in the global economy, as we grapple with climate change and as we have this wave of technology ready to enter into transportation, that now's the time to start figuring out how it actually works, how we actually can apply it to solve problems for real people. One last point I want to make is that when we define a smart city, one of the things that we have to think about from the very beginning, and these mayors have all talked about it, and you'll hear about it from them, is that a lot of times technology gets deployed to those who are best able to afford it first. And I happen to think that one of the dimensions of a smart city is one that thinks about everybody at the beginning, one that creates access points for everybody from the beginning. And I think all of these applications in various ways speak to the way that we can define a smart city as technologically advanced, but also advanced in terms of reaching every single person in a given community. And so, what is a smart city? Let's see.
Secretary. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, I have the honor of introducing our 7 finalists. From the city of San Francisco, Mayor Ed Lee. From the city of Austin, Mayor Steve Adler. From the city of Portland, Mayor Charlie Hales. From Kansas City, Mayor Sly James. From the city of Denver, Mayor Michael Hancock. From the city of Pittsburgh, Mayor William Peduto. And from the city of Columbus, Mayor Andrew Ginther.